guess I'll do it here. Welcome to the Stanley Parable playthrough with me, Tony. March 3rd, 2023. Starting at 5:47 a.m. This has been on my radar forever. Probably owned it forever too. Never played it. Heard people talk about it. Don't fully know what it is. Figured that's a quirky thing for a Saturday. So, yeah. I suppose we just begin the game and figure out what the fuck this is. Hope I can pause. I've got shit in the oven. Find out. Oh, that was abrupt.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Okay.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Was he?
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
You were just outside, dude. You should not be throwing like this. Petey, come back here. Come here. You're just groaning. What do you want? Prove you're helping see what you want. You want to go outside? Outside? Then let's go outside. Let's not run away from the door. Embrace it. Let's try this again. Oh. Gray is a selection and not white, even though obviously it's clearly gray is a
This
selection.
is the story of a man named Stanley.
Okay. That's weird.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Yeah.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Where the fuck's the meeting room? This is a hellscape. Good God.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Why? Okay. Let's make sure my audio is working. Yep, okay. Don't feel like I should have listened. Oop, that's a bright monitor. Oh, nice artwork. Oh, Yeah, we've all been there, right? It's like, oh, look at image. Pretty inspiring. Okay.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Do not alter without consulting whiteboard manager. Meeting room floor. Schedule Monday, weekly targets, marketing Mondays, termination Tuesdays, we're broke Wednesdays, mergers on Thursdays. Ah. Okay. What do we got here? Targets, push for funding. R&D, new coffee machine, yeah. That's standardized. Standardized graphs? 4 times wide, not cost efficient. Who moved my desk? Question, please keep the targets on the topic of... God, this does look like every fucking whiteboard you've ever seen in an office setting. I like it. A lot of percent. Bi-quarterly post-review review. Jesus fucking Christ. We need less reviews. Yeah. 402, 405. Want to get rid of the death sport portion in the primary review schedule. But I think that's a stupid idea. More water coolers, more water cooler heaters. Chart needs to be more hip to appeal to the teenage demographic. Find teenagers to put in teenage demographic. Big net. Some sort of child trap? The fuck? Space between the teenagers. Throw something in the dark or the idea bin. No more bins. Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ, there's so much. What do people want? Things, money, more money, things, but with money to buy more things. Graphs, graphs about things and money. Like James, you're fired. We have our new product. The stock market is something or somewhere here. Colored in segment stripes. Requires more secondary research. What is hot? Profit, 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 profit. Telephone directory, fax. Oh my god. What is with when did we decide and how long ago did we decide that fax cover sheets all fucking look very similar? Solving interpersonal conflict. If you ever find yourself in a conflict with another diligent employee like yourself, but more inclined towards conflict unless you're the kind of person who... Oh! What are your dreams for the future? Jesus fucking Christ, this is great. This is exactly... Oh my god, if you've never worked in a mind-numbing fucking office, okay. Kind of why I wanted to play this. Tips for not getting fired. Talk less. Do unbelievably amazing work all the time, every day, with no exception of promotion or recognition. Don't get fired. Thanks. Talk about that accurately. How to solve a dispute with coworker. Let it ball up inside you. Take it out passive-aggressively on other coworkers. Resent coworkers for not supporting you more. Fuck. Use the slides to assure employees that everything is okay. Make sure your slide has a slick blue graphic in the header and throw some pebble. This will ensure a calm and productive work environment. Everyone is unique. You most of all.
Stanley just stood there doing nothing at all.
I'm reading,
he seems
asshole.
to think I have nothing better to do with my time than to sit around and describe every fascinating little detail of his inability to do anything.
Number
This
of
is why
slides.
Stanley and I are on such good terms.
Alright, asshole, I'm a slow reader. Rate at which charts on the same slide depict the same information. Rate of increase in graphs per slide. Please, more. The Boss Appreciation Minute. On your Boss Appreciation Minute worksheet, circle the top 20 things you love most about your boss. Fill out the triplicate and return to your boss and appreciates your boss appreciation specials. Solving. Okay. Unless you're the kind of person who initiates conflict, why did we hire you? Remember that it takes 2 people to start a fight, and right now you're both of them. Alright, I'm going to like this. And to do, synergize. Christ. Core value. Jesus Christ. Expenditure. Shape global market. Monetize. Free to play. Oh God, when was this game made? That's fucking. Oh, yellow box. What are you doing? It's weird. Okay, moving on. Sorry. Broom closet. That's not the boss. That opened. I was supposed to go to the boss's room. Fuck it.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he
What?
turned around and got back on track.
Is there nothing here though? There's a broom. There's a mop. It's
There was nothing here.
Okay.
No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet.
Thank you,
No
narrator.
reason to still be here.
Okay, thanks, narrator. Dickhead.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I want to know. I'll follow the game. Jesus. The fuck? Something in there.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Interesting.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
So dark. Oh.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
But yeah. I feel like I should take the escape though, right? Because like. Red defense.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
Well, now I need to know.
Nope. Still on board with death?
You shouldn't have said it, narrator.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Fine. Jesus, the fucking void.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Jesus.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
He's going to, right? I mean, that's the whole point. Otherwise, I would have walked to my death. Jesus, this place is like.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Very well, no. Oh.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job?
Fired.
That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Fired. The white and black text is more striking than all the images.
He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Yes. I'm assuming that is yes. Very interesting scenario.
But
don't
here
you
was the
think?
proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Would I, though? What if I press the button? Like, what? Wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Lots of options here. Lots of buttons to press. I want to press them. Mind controls idle. Awaiting input. Oh boy. And I struggled to get this game going into widescreen. And look at this widescreen right here. System power.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Should I? I guess. Don't feel like that was actually the right thing to do.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
No. Better not be.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away.
But
And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone?
right,
How had he been freed from the machine's grasp?
sure.
What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing.
That's not.
Stanley stepped through the open door.
That's not a door. Well, you just told me. Hold on. You just said that no one's going to tell me what to do anymore. Why am I in a different room? Where's my button? My button's gone. And then he told me to walk through this open door. That doesn't look like a door. And the graphics really look dated when you get outside of the office setting. Ooh.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Was he, though? It's really washed out. Was he? I beat the game. Good. That good. That good at this. Okay. Obviously. Okay, 427. What are we going to do now?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
My God, that fucking computer.
No matter how hard
Fuck
Stanley
this shit.
looked, he couldn't find a
What?
trace of his co-workers.
No, I wanted to touch it, not turn it off.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Well, you listen here, fucker. I'm not going to listen to you when I get to that area. I'm going to take a right now. Let's fucking conserve power, people. Oh, what's this one say? Oh, waiting input. Oh, yeah. Okay. Is there a joke associated with this? Why is there a plant in front of the 420 room? What's that mean?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Nope.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just
Maybe.
to admire it.
Perhaps. We're just gonna click every fucking door. Click. Try to open. There's some more yellow boxes.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Wish I could be drinking.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
I'm not gonna do that. Because I don't want to. I followed you to the end of the game. I guess it would be interesting to know, like, what? Okay, let me. You know, fucking.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
I want to just break the rules, but I'm interested. Okay, I want to see what happens if I do follow this again.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office,
What
hoping
happens
he
if
might
you
find an answer there.
do the exact same thing? Room closet.
Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
All right.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Did not expect that to work. I thought it wasn't going to work, and now I feel very conflicted because I was just going to follow through and see if the same thing happened, but now I've got that panda. Business strategy? Jesus. Oh shit, we can go up? So many oh god. Alright, fuck it. We're off the rails, man. No, no, no. Up, up. Go up. Is this where this music comes from? The number of YouTube videos I have heard this on. What? Am I humming? I feel like I have to press the button. It did nothing. Wait a minute. Okay.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human
Don't remember the
life.
code.
What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
I'm really breaking the rules next time. Definitely breaking rules. Gonna break the rules.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
I wonder if the upgraded version has like ray tracing and better lighting. You'd think it would, because it'd be interesting to see how they subtly make things better.
This mind control facility,
in addition to obvious
horrible to believe
graphic
it couldn't
upgrades.
Be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Yeah. Back at this again.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept
Pirate.
it.
So one got
His own
fired
life
still?
In
Yep.
someone else's control?
Pirate.
Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible?
Oh, I should have looked for number
Had he
one.
truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Wait a minute. That didn't take as long. That didn't take as long.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
I kinda don't want to. I kinda wanna, press buttons. Wait a minute, wasn't there? Oh, here we go. Console disabled. I think I'm gonna turn it on. No, we're gonna follow through with doing the almost exact same thing we did last time. And see what happens. And then we were going to go off the rails the next time.
And when at last he found the source of the room...
Was that rude? You tell me if that was rude.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved.
No shit.
Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him.
It does matter.
It was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or...
Except you're gonna tell me to walk through the fucking door.
Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know.
Is it
It
though?
was perhaps the only thing worth knowing.
Is it?
Stanley stepped through the open door.
Damn it. It's not even a fucking door.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation.
I wonder if I'm in front of a
immense
computer still.
possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen.
That hill is kind of chunky.
And Stanley
Was happy.
was happy.
No, he's not. Stanley's gonna fucking break a monitor. I hope this is entertaining for you. Because I'm enjoying it. As I try to catch fruit flies. Okay. You know, I should have been paying attention to the clock. My god, the amount of things that you could probably be, or should be paying attention to. Any subtle differences here?
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself, that's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Perhaps. Perhaps I did.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
This room. What a beautiful room.
It really is.
What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
I would go down that elevator, but I think I'm gonna keep going ahead.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Do not lie. If you're lying, right now, stop. Well, if you're lying right now, stop. Half-Life 2 looking. Need a key card. I don't have a key card. Warning, do not jump from the cargo lift while it is in motion. Will cause death, penalty, or misuse of cargo lift. $1,000 penalty for jumping off the cargo lift. $5,000, but you're going to be dead, so what does it matter? That is quite the drop, huh?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley.
Myself?
Someone you've forgotten about.
Me?
Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Her? Who's her?
Stanley, your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life.
Who's her?
She's been waiting.
What the fuck are you talking about? What? I can smell this room. Ugh.
That's her, Stanley.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha.
What a cocksucker.
Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you?
Oh.
I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
The fuck is that was very mean. That's rude.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Oh, Jesus. What? What?
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Ouch.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
I don't want to follow the rules. No. No, I'm not.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown.
It's very polygonal.
Fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Press A to spend time with
So
boys.
he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be?
You'd think.
Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Yeah.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me.
Jesus.
He won't stop.
Well,
Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
wait, but you told me not to do it. Fuck you.
See? Can
God.
he just not hear me?
Damn it.
How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose.
Oh.
I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again. And
Whoa.
Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
That got dark. That phone was not ringing before, right? No.
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I forgot. Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
Username access. Now the narrator's just not going to talk. Is he going to say anything here?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I'm going to go down the fucking steps.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Hey, that's not funny. And no.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
No. No. Not going to. So,
But Stanley just couldn't do it.
the fuck did this car get in
the
here?
possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in
Fuck.
such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk?
How did the
All
car get
because
down
he
here?
believed everyone had vanished.
1, 2,
His boss
B4.
would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as
Oh,
Stanley
no.
pondered this, he began to make other
a
strange
loop.
observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
It's a
Why did
good,
doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
good.
And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt.
Okay.
To have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all.
11,
He thought
12.
to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back
Wait,
to
but
my
now we're
boring
back.
real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
Fair question.
Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job, All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine.
I don't think it will be.
I am okay.
Excuse me.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Back in the office, aren't we?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
What?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like.
Of course.
And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no
Set the
time
car.
for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
And we're back. Okay. I'm going to quit now. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, like it. If you dislike it, feel free to comment. No one's commenting. No one's subscribing. We're stuck at 80. I need to get back to those shorts. I need to stop talking about doing it and actually do it. Almost found an apartment, hopefully. We'll find out. To get some information on the sale of our house. If it's going to happen or not. Times are changing. And soon, potentially within 45 days, the background will be different. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Subscribe. Take care. Bye. So go back.
This is the... All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked,
Now I feel like I may have just fucked that up.